So welcome to my YouTube channel. That's what we call The Good Life. It's February and I'm going to be going through some of the jobs I'm going to be doing on my allotment this month, and also some of the jobs you can be doing, and trying to give you ways of scheduling things and trying to get things a little bit better in order than they were last year, so you can have a really good year. So I'm going to recommend a few things that I do and that I use that really do help me along the way. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my allotment, my home garden, and from time to time my home kitchen. So let's get started. Now the first thing to do is to think a little bit about planning. Now don't overanalyze planning, because otherwise you can spend months and too much time, in my opinion, planning and not enough time doing action. So first of all, you need to balance the two out. You need to have a little bit of an idea of where you're going to put things, you know, maybe draw a little plan out. I've had a very old allotment planner that I used to jot things in for years and years, but it's got a little bit tatty and I've run out of space in it, so I've bought myself a new one called the Essential Allotment Planner with 2025 diary in it, so I can really schedule what I'm going to do and roughly stick to it. And it won't be exact, but it is really good. I've started filling mine out already. So I've drawn up a little plan of roughly where I plan to put things on my allotment. I've also drawn up a list of things I need to be aware of, which I'm going to share with you, and also things I'm going to sow, pests I should look out for, and various other things. So I really do keep track of it. And if you'd like to purchase this allotment planner, we will put a link up on the screen and also one in the description, and you can get one for yourself. But it is really handy to keep track of stuff. I've done it for years and years and years, and it's just a little reminder, because obviously different places in the country things do better, so I have my own list of what I follow, and then if I want to change something because it's not worked as well, I know what I've done and what years have worked out better, my successes and my failures. So this is a really good thing to have, whether you get this one or whether you just get a different one. They are really handy to do. So one of the things, obviously planning roughly where you're going to put things. Now I have a rough idea of where things are going to go, but again, don't get too hung up about it, because I always have a plan of where things are going to go, and then sometimes things end up taking up a bit more space and some things take a little bit less, so you might have to jiggle things around a little bit. Crop rotation is really good to do, but again, I don't stick to it to the letter. I use it as a rough guide. If you've not heard of the different kinds of crop rotation that you can do, there's a really good link on the RHS site which you can look at, which we will put a link in the description for you. But roughly, you rotate legumes with brassicas, potatoes, onions and root vegetables, and you keep circling them round so that the nutrients get, you know, you don't deplete the nutrients, and some give back, and it's just a really good way of doing it. I mean, ideally, don't plant things in the same spot. That being said, sometimes you just have to. It's just the way it goes. But again, we will put a link in the description for the RHS site, and they give a really detailed plan of different kind of crop rotations that might suit you a lot better. So one of the jobs I'm going to be doing, I still haven't completely cleared this bit, so if you're like me and you've still got a little bit that hasn't been cleared, I'm going to be clearing that in the next month. So let's hope the next time you see a video from me, I've actually managed to get around to doing that, because this area is going to be for my potatoes. Now they need to go in mid-March, so I need this clear ready for that, and ideally I'm going to mulch this with some organic matter. So again, mulching is another good thing to be doing, whether you're putting, you know, manure down, whether you're taking the compost off your composter, leaf mould. There's all sorts of things you can mulch with, and it also helps put nutrients back into the soil, and it also stops the weeds from growing, so it's win-win really, isn't it? Also, the other thing I do when I dig a piece of ground over, I also put the weed cover down. I probably won't bother with this bit because I am literally just about to start planting in, you know, just over a month, so I probably won't cover this bit. But these bits that I've dug over, and when I've cleared the weeds out and I've mulched, I've put this over to stop the weeds from growing. This is a weed suppressant which I use. year after year, so I buy it, you know, I keep reusing it. I will put a link up on the screen and also one in the description if you'd like to get some of that for yourself. But again, it keeps helps you keep control of your allotment, and it also keeps the ground moist underneath because it lets the water through, and it also keeps it a little bit warmer when you're ready to plant as well. So again, really beneficial for me. Putting down weed suppressant has been an absolute game changer for me, and has meant that I keep control of my allotment much better than I did, because I have other things I need to do with my life. I can't be up here every single second clearing every single weed. So this really does help me get a good start to the season. A lot of people have been asking about a book that I can recommend. This one is absolutely amazing. It's Allotment Month by Month by Alan Buckingham. Absolutely fantastic. Again, gives you lots of hints and tips inside. I know you get loads of them from me, but I definitely don't know everything, and I need to refer to this from time to time, and it just reminds me of things that I need to be keeping, you know, keeping in the forefront of my mind for each particular month. Again, there will be a link up on the screen and also one in the description if you would like to get this as well. So something else we need to be thinking about is pests at this time of year. Now, all depending whether you've got a lot on your plot, and if you haven't got much, it's not such a big deal. But if you've still got crops on your allotment, in particular brassicas, the slugs and the snails are out in force at the moment. My spinach in particular has taken a little bit of a battering. There's still enough for me to eat, so I don't mind losing a little bit, but it's well worth keeping an eye on those and removing any slugs and snails so they don't eat more than you get, basically. So keep a handle on those, because again, that will benefit you going forward when you start putting your seedlings out, if you keep the slug and snail population down. Something else, now I'm not that bothered that the birds have attacked those, because I uncovered them and they were really tatty anyway. But if you've got any precious cabbages or anything that you want to look after, especially of the brassica family, it's well worth keeping them covered. Now, I use this scaffolding net over there. I've bought a great big roll of it, and again, I use it year after year. I've kept it many years. It's really durable, much durable than some of the other netting that I've used in the past. So again, if you've not got any of that, it's well worth getting some of that in for the start of the season. Again, I'll put a link up on the screen and one in the description if you want to get yourself some of those, because it won't be that long. We'll all be popping stuff out. I cover my brassicas with it. When my seedlings go out, I generally put a little bit down until they get so high, and then they're normally okay. But it's well worth, you don't get that netting, it's well worth thinking about things like that as well. So let's move swiftly up to some of the other jobs that I can be doing. I've got gooseberries down here. I've also got some soft fruits, some raspberries and some blackcurrants up there. February, if you've not already done it, you really do need to try and get it done this month. I haven't pruned mine all completely, so I need to get on with that job as well. Just removing what needs to be removed. Obviously with the raspberries, or depending on what kind of raspberries you've got, if you've got the autumn fruit in, you just cut them right straight back down to the ground. If you've got the summer fruit in, then you just take out the old wood. And with things like the gooseberries and the blackcurrants and other berries, you are just again taking out some of the older wood, not all of it, just to try and give it some good airflow around it, so branches aren't like that one's crossing over. You know, so things like that could cause disease, and it looks like a bit of a tatty one as well. So with things like your gooseberries and your blackcurrants, you're just trying to remove some of the older stuff and some of the things that cross over, just to create good airflow, which will in turn encourage the plant to grow much better. Now, believe it or not, there are some things you can be harvesting at the moment. I haven't got that much, but be really interested to know if any of my viewers, what they've still got that they're harvesting at the moment. I've still got carrots, parsnips, I've still got spinach. I've just finished digging my last few leeks, but you may still have some brassicas left that you're still harvesting. I'd be really interested to know whether people are still harvesting things. I'm still eating lots of my homegrown stuff because I've still got loads of squashes at home, and I've still got lots of things in the freezer and lots of things that I've preserved. So I am still eating my home produce, but there's not an awful lot that I can actually eat on the plot at the moment. So we are getting almost to the hunger gap, so it's a good job that I froze quite a few things. Something else that's quite fun to do, if you've not watched the video already, is planting some rhubarb. Now, obviously you can get fancy covers to force rhubarb. All forcing rhubarb is you're just taking the light away, so that the rhubarb is trying to find light and it will just grow up. Now, I have no idea if this has even started to do much underneath here, but we might as well take a look, mightn't we? I haven't got a fancy rhubarb falsa. All I've just got is a barrel, plastic barrel cut in half, but it does the job just the same. Again, I use it year after year, and it really does a good job. So let's see whether it is doing a bit more. I mean, look at the difference. That's only been on there just over a week. Look at the difference between that. It's not massive, but they're definitely trying to find the light, aren't they? So that's well worth doing it. And I can feel a bit of heat in there as well. You know, obviously you can't feel the heat, but I can feel that that's a little bit warmer in there as well, because we've had a little bit of sun here in Kent. Despite it being quite cold and frosty last night, we've had a lot of sun during the day, and even though it doesn't feel that warm, underneath there, that's created quite a bit of heat. Now I'm going to head back home because I've got a few other exciting things that I want to share with you. So I'm now back home and I've got a couple of exciting jobs I'm going to be sharing with you now. Now one of the things is my potatoes, and I've got my potatoes here ready to chit. Just briefly with chitting, some people get really het up on whether to chit or not to chit. Now if you get your potatoes early, chitting basically just means you're putting them in the right environment to keep them at their optimum level to then plant them and give them a head start. But if you haven't already got your potatoes and you get them last minute and you're due to plant them, don't bother chitting them, just plant them. So this video is for people like me. I'm in February, I've got my potato seeds and I need to be getting them ready to put in the ground from mid-March through till April. So I've got 4 varieties here. I have Arran Pilot, which is a first early. I have Maris Piper, which is my main crop. I also have Charlotte, which is a second early, I think. I should know that, shouldn't I, really? And Kestrel, which is definitely a second early. So yeah, they are actually, so yeah. Definitely Charlotte is a second early. We always think that Charlotte is a first early, but actually it's a second early. And I've also got Kestrel, which is one of my favourites, and that's also a second early. So the other thing about chitting, it gives them a head start, which is really important if you live in an area where you get blight. So blight generally hits worse later on in the season, so the sooner you can get your potatoes to develop, the less likely you are to get blight. That's why I favour first earlies and second earlies. I only do a small amount of main crop, just in case we get a lot of blight. So you need to lay them out in egg boxes or just little trays. A top tip with these, if you know anyone, any restaurants or any pubs that use a lot of eggs, I've got these for free and they're absolutely perfect, all these egg boxes. So they're just going to be thrown away and they're perfect for popping the potatoes on. So I've got one for each lot of potatoes. So just briefly, when you chit, they need to be in a cool, light place, but frost-free, but not in direct sunlight. A lot of people make the mistake of putting them in the dark. Now that's not what you want to do, because if you put them in the dark, they will produce really long shoots, and all you're trying to produce is little stumpy shoots, and that's all you're trying to do. So I'm just going to pop these out. They're quite big. So I might actually cut these in half when I go to plant them, but at the moment I'm just going to lay them out as they are. My granddad always used to cut potatoes in half to get as much as he possibly could from them. So some of these extra large ones here. So you just lay them out. I know some people lay them out with bits facing up, and do you know what? I don't worry too much. I just kind of like lay them out in the boxes. And I just leave them here until I'm ready to plant them, really. And obviously don't forget to put the tag of whatever one it is on there. So like that. So I'm going to lay the rest of these out. If you want to watch a full video on chitting, there will be a link up on the screen and one in the description. But basically cool, light, frost-free, but not direct sunlight. Looks like we have a little guest with us here. Little Shelby wants to help me chit my potatoes. Now my really exciting thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give growing some mushrooms a go. I am no expert at growing mushrooms. This is only going to be my 3rd attempt at growing mushrooms. The first one I failed miserably. The second one I did okay, but it was quite a few years ago. And this is my 3rd attempt. So I hope you're going to join me in my journey. I'm going to be trying blue oyster mushrooms. Now I've done a little bit of research and it seems like they are one of the easiest ones to grow. Mushrooms can be a little bit temperamental with temperature, and as I don't keep my house that warm, that's another good reason for me to choose these, because they can go down as low as 10 Celsius, whereas a lot of the other mushrooms have to be a bit more like 15 or 16. Now, like I say, I don't really care. My house is warm most of the time, but at night sometimes it drops down. And also they've got a really good rating on Amazon as well, and I've got to be honest, it looks like other people are doing it well. I'm going to try it too. So if you want to join my journey or just watch it, there will be a link up on the screen and one in the description if you want to give these a go. But if not, I'm going to be mentioning these and doing some little shorts, and I will do a full video about how to grow these mushrooms successfully, and hopefully they will be successful.